Hello all and welcome back to some more Apex Online Racing action. Luke Etheridge here again bringing you all the action from the PlayStation 4 F4 tier. Today is round 12 of the championship around the Hungaroring circuit for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Who will be feasting on success at the end of this race and who will be left starving for points after a long 35 lap race for the drivers. A quick recap of the action from the German race, and it was a good race for the Mercedes team. Schumacher getting his first win of the season, just one race after his first podium in Silverstone. And Hepari late qualified on pole, but as has been the case often this season, the two-stop strategy not the optimal one. He was able to recover to 4th place, however, the highest of all the two-stop runners. Out of the championship contenders, Jompalainen came out best out of the top three, finishing second. He just hung on from Undefined, who got his first podium of the season. Didn't go quite to plan for the others. Geordie serving a qualifying ban, of course, after his accident with Vicstar in Austria a few rounds ago. Did well, got himself onto the back of Schumacher, but a problem with his monitor. You may remember me and Alex last time out debating what had gone on as we saw Geordie pull over to the side of the road. A monitor issue, meaning Geordie had to pull over, get everything set up again. He did manage to recover to 7th place, however, which was a lot better than Vicstar could manage. He had a tough race in the Ferrari, was hit by Senna, which dropped him down a few places, but Vic did manage to finish 10th to get what could prove to be an all-important point at the end of the season. Now, Schumacher's first win was coming in what he has told me will be his last season in AOR. He's planning to retire from competitive racing scene, at least as a driver anyway, at the end of this season, and he could go out on a high. 4th in the championship at the moment. He's got himself now to within 68 points of the lead, and maybe just a few more races like Germany, who knows, he could find himself right up there. As always, your comments are more than welcome. Feel free to use the hashtag on Twitter, AORHype, or leave your comments in the stream. As always, I will try and read out as many as possible. Who do you think will come out on top on what is a very tight, twisty circuit? Monaco without the barriers, as it has sometimes been described. Some quick facts about this track. Normally 70 laps, of course, 35 laps it will be today. Won by Mercedes this year. They weren't the fastest this time around, but a wet qualifying session. They had the pace over the Ferraris, and they were able to keep that up in the race, with Lewis Hamilton taking a victory. Valtteri Bottas dropped back slightly during the race after contact with multiple drivers. Did contact with Daniel Ricciardo in the end, earning him a penalty. 14 turns, long straight into turn 1, the only DRS zone, and by far the best overtaking opportunity. It's a very tight and twisty second sector, as you will see in qualifying. A lot of the drivers will be struggling to keep tyre temperatures under control there. Just waiting a minute to see what is happening with the session. I believe a few drivers having trouble getting in, so hopefully everything will be back to normal soon for what should be a very fascinating qualifying session. As I've mentioned, possibly the second hardest track to overtake on outside of Monte Carlo. A race where we saw Geordie win earlier on in the season. Andy won at Canada, another circuit known for being tight, so will he be able to recover from what will have been a disappointing race last time out. He'll have been happy with how he performed, but as I mentioned, a monitor issue possibly costing him the win. He can't afford too many more moments like that. Some more information about the track. Quite a short track, 2.7 miles long. Most of the corners, some famous moments throughout Formula 1 history that have happened here. Jenson Button's first win in 2006 in the wet was actually the first wet race that had ever taken place in the Hungaroring in 20 years. And we had another in 2011, also won by Jenson Button, showing that his smooth driving style was perfectly suited to the twisty nature of this circuit, and even more so in the wet conditions where he made his name. And Michael Schumacher taking a very different victory around here in 1998 with a three-stop strategy. I doubt you're going to see that today. Much changed Formula 1 now, of course, no refueling. But a three-stop strategy where he was required to find 25 seconds in 18 laps, as if it was just a everyday thing to find in your back pocket, as I'm sure most drivers keep a spare 25 seconds that they can bring out the car just when they need it. So the qualifying session will be beginning in the next 10 seconds. As I mentioned, vital to get a good position around this circuit, although tyre wear could play a big part into it. We're not expecting the ultra soft tyres, which are the fastest available this weekend, to last very long in the race at all. Perhaps only 3 or 4 laps before anyone who qualifies on them will have to go into the pitch and ditch them, pretty much guaranteeing that you will be on a 2-stop strategy, with it being such a tight circuit to overtake on. It's unlikely that a lot of drivers will go for that, but you will always see someone going for the glory of the 2-stopper on the ultra softs to get that ideal qualifying lap. Other tyres that are available, we've got the softs and the mediums, and of course if it's wet weather, which we saw at the 3 races before the summer break but hasn't happened in Germany, I'm sure all the drivers were relieved to finally have a straightforward dry race. We do have the intermediates and wet tyres if possible. Now qualifying has been quite a mixed bag for various drivers this season, although we've had 5 race winners. Surprisingly, Vicstar, who is high up in the championship, has not had a pole position, and it's Slimbo who's had the most with 3. Some other drivers who haven't won races to get a pole, all 11 managed to earlier on in the season, but unfortunately couldn't convert them into good results. And Hipari, of course, last time out in Germany, will he be able to make it 2 in a row? See with the drivers exiting their way onto track, and on board with Slimbo at the moment. Quite disappointed last time out. He was tipped to win by Alex and me. We thought he'd have a fantastic job, but just wasn't able to do so. Had quite a bad start and fell down the field. In the end, retiring from the race, and that's pretty much made what were slim championship chances equal, hanging by an absolute thread now. 90 points off the top in 6th place. If he's going to have any chance of making his way up the order, he's going to need to start winning now. But we did see quite a mixed bag of results last time out. Some new drivers making their way onto the podium. Undefined getting his first podium of the season. Good job by the Toro Rosso driver. What was only... he wasn't there at the start of the season. It was only his 3rd point scoring finish of the season, but very well done to get a 3rd place. Was all over the back of Jon Palainen, but the Finn just able to hang on. He's been very gentle with his tyres as the Williams driver so far this season. That could prove crucial today. So we'll have a look now at Undefined on his first hot lap using the medium tyres. As we see Kano Yanda there just diving out of the way doesn't want to earn a penalty this early on. See the tyres that everyone's on, most of the drivers have gone for either the mediums or the ultra softs. Only Evan at the moment on the softs. Hipari just getting out of the way there. Coming up to the end of the first sector now, where Felipe Massa had his horrific accident in 2009, and Evan has backed off, I believe. Doesn't seem to be. Yeah, it's definitely backed off on the vine. So on the medium tyres, you're definitely going to get a chance to get another lap at it. Someone who will be able to drive a car as fast as possible for the first time in a while in an AOR session. Jockey Geordie coming across the line now to start his lap. As I mentioned, qualifying ban in Germany. Recovered well from it though, but what might have been if it wasn't for the monitor issues that plagued him. But he can't think about that. He's just going to have to go all out this time to try and close the gap to Jompalainen. Last time was actually the first time Geordie has finished a race outside of the podium places. It really has pretty much been all or nothing for him so far this season outside of that. Either podiums or retirements in the races he has attended. So we're just watching now come into this very twisty middle section. Like all medium speed corners, it's put so much wear on the tyres. One stop, one after the other. They're finally getting a bit of a breather down this back straight. Looks to be all pretty much under control. I feel like this is just a banker lap to try and ensure a good qualifying place. All of the top 10 must start the race on the tyres that they qualify on, of course. It's been the case all season. And Geordie, a 1:17.4. Wouldn't expect him to go faster than Slimbo, with the Force India driver being on the ultra softs, of course. But the medium will definitely be a better race tyre. And Kano Yanda, the other Haas, retiring from the session, so he will be starting stone dead last, it looks like. So could we see another Haas trying to fight their way up the field this time around? We'll have a look now at the championship leader, Jompalainen, coming up to the end of Sector 1. Another driver on those white-walled medium tyres. Safari sets fastest lap time, 1:15.9. Fantastic lap time. Could it be another pole position for the Mercedes driver? They'll be hoping for a race like that time. Schumacher took full advantage of free tyre choice, of course, in Germany. 11th on the grid, as high as you can start and get the free choice of tyres. And some misfortune, it must be said, for other drivers. Pedro and Evan involved in a collision which took out the Red Bull driver when he was looking very good for a first victory. But what can Jompalainen do? He'll be targeting Geordie's time of 1:17.4. And it's a 1:18.0 at the moment. That is 5th place. So 7 drivers have set a time so far. Hipari, Slimbo and Geordie, the top 3. Joe Breezy only a 1:40.6 so far, so we'll have to see what he can do. Take a look now at Evan, a driver who was involved in quite a lot of incidents last week. Using a pad is sometimes harder in those really close wheel-to-wheel battles to just have that extra bit of fine control. But he's definitely not lacking in pace in qualifying. We've seen him get 2 pole positions so far, and on those soft tyres he's just run slightly wide there. On those soft tyres he's got a chance to get further up the grid, and they will be a handy race tyre. We expect a one-stop strategy to be the key for most of the drivers, either soft to mediums or mediums to softs. Can make a 2-stop work, going ultra soft, soft and then soft. But you will be compromised and have to work your way up through traffic, which is definitely not the easiest thing to do around this circuit. They're now coming round, and he's backed off as well, I believe. Definitely not going all out for it. 11, and he's into the pits. We'll take a look at how Schnitzel is doing on the ultra soft tyres, so this should be a very quick lap time indeed from the Sauber drivers. Best result this season, 3rd position in Monaco as he just runs wide on the exit there. That's going to cost him. Be interested to see whether he backs up off on this lap now. Will he just keep going to try and get a good time in? Sliding slightly through the chicane, perhaps the rears already beginning to get a bit hot. You'll have so much more grip on these ultra softs, but of course going faster is just going to generate more tyre temperature, and it's a vicious circle once you overheat these tyres. To slide more and more friction created between the track and the rubber, and the tyres just overheat more. You will lose all pace and grip. So what can Schnitzel do on his first run? Backing off at the end of a lap, perhaps thinking it's not good enough for Powell, so why set your fastest time, 1:20.3. He'll definitely be going for a harder set of tyres later on, I feel. So just nearly at the halfway point now. It's Hipari on pole position on the ultra softs. Slimbo and Schumacher 2nd and 3rd. Geordie 4th. Jompalainen 5th. Senna 6th. Then Ibrahim, Schnitzel and Breezy, the only ones there to have set lap times. Still quite a few more leaving it very late on to set their times. We'll see what everyone has done their fastest laps on, and it's no surprise to only see a couple of drivers sticking with those ultra softs for their fast laps. Perhaps going for the glory and the screen time at the start of the race, because I can't see that being the best race tyre. Some yellow flags in sector 2, but can't quite see what's causing them. We'll go on board now with Vic. We mentioned he's not had a pole position so far this season, and qualifying hasn't really gone to plan for him at a lot of races, but he's found a way to fight his way up the field, and especially where the conditions have been less than ideal, with a win at Port Ricard where he had that very short rain shower, which we saw some of the drivers go onto the wet tyres, but he stuck it out on the slicks fantastically. And in Silverstone in the appalling conditions there, where he managed to conserve his tyres enough, while some of those around him were getting punctures from pushing perhaps just a bit too hard to take a win. Seems very smooth and careful so far. Again, he'll be hoping to get up around where Geordie and Pedro are, and Schumacher in that low to mid 1:17s. Nice and smooth through the final few corners, and it's a 1:17.4. He'll be delighted with that. That's good enough for 4th place so far. Although, as I mentioned, it was a very good job last time from the Mercedes. More points than any other team. Schumacher, of course, winning. Hipari, the best of the 2 stoppers. And you never know. The winter break could have been good for some people. Hipari with another fastest lap time, 1:15.5. Over a second quicker now than everyone else. Tyres definitely playing a part with some of the other drivers, but you wouldn't expect the gaps between the ultras and the softs. I know it is 2 steps to be quite as big as they are, so he's definitely got that car nailed on for qualifying. Whether that will be good enough in the race, I'd have to say, of course we can't see the forecast, only the drivers are privileged to that at the moment, but with quite a few of the drivers going for the mediums and softs, you'd have to say a dry race is expected. Most of the drivers have left it quite late towards the end of this session to set a lap time. The only one, apart from Karol Yander, of course, who was out early on to not set a lap time, is Undefined on the soft tyres, hoping to build on what was a good result last time for him on 3rd place, and this could help quite a lot of drivers, definitely the top 3 anyway, in their championship hunt. If other drivers start taking points off their rivals, as long as they don't take points off themselves, of course, could help the top three cement their place in the championship, or maybe if some of their opponents having a bad race, for example, as happened last time out with Jordy and Vic, things not going to plan, these midfield guys getting involved can allow gaps to build up. It has been a very close championship so far. Jon Palainen at the moment having a 14-point lead over Jordy, with Vicstar just a further 2 points behind, so it can all change very quickly. Has been a bit of a scruffy lap from Undefined so far. I've seen him run wide at a few corners, so we'll have to see if that has invalidated the lap time or not as he comes across the line. No, 117.1, it's good enough for 4th place so far, 2nd out of the soft tyre runners. So we'll have a quick run through the top of the order with 5 minutes to go. It's Hapari, physical pole position by a whole second from Slimbo. Evan in 3rd at the moment. Vic 4th, Undefined 5th. Schumacher in 6th, Jordy 7th, Pedro, Hasdane and Jon Palainen rounding out the top 10. We'll have a look now. You can see quite a few yellow flags popping up as the drivers push harder and harder. Slimbo, he's also now on the soft tyre, so maybe he was saving something on his ultra soft lap, a bit like Stixel but not quite as dramatic as Stixel, ensuring that he can start on the better race tyre. Comes into the penultimate couple of corners now, just taking it nice and steady, runs wide there but you can cut back. Car fighting to get away from him, but Slimbo controlling it pretty well. He has been a very good qualifier this season. Is it good enough to improve? No, 116.6. He'll stay 2nd. He'll have to go slightly faster than that if he wants to ditch those ultra softs for the grid. Most of the drivers on track now, just 6 in the pits. That's not counting Kano Yander, of course, who will be so disappointed. He's not had a chance to set a fast lap in anger. We're seeing them coming out very shortly. We'll have a quick look now along on board with Ibrahim. In only his 2nd race in this series, managed to get to the end last time out. He gets used to racing in this series, racing with the different cars. He's in 13th at the moment. 118.0 doesn't sound fantastic, but it is only half a second off Jordy in 7th place, just showing how close this series has generally been. We've seen pole position separated by just a few hundredths on many occasions so far this year, but it does not look like that will be the case this time around with the huge lead that Jon Palainen has. Ibrahim pushing a bit too hard there and running wide. So we'll have a look what last week's race winner is doing now on his soft tyres. It's just a build-up lap so far from Schumacher. I mention it every race and I'm going to keep doing so until this streak breaks. The only driver to have scored points in all 11 races so far this season. That's showing a great level of consistency. We're generally in the middle to lower reach of the points until a 3rd place in Silverstone. Was provisionally 2nd before Pedro had a penalty removed, and then a great win last time out. Calmly catching up to Jon Palainen and using the extra pace of his tyres to take the victory. And Schumacher's decided to pit, so he's happy with his 4th place. Jordy moving up to 2nd place on those soft tyres. We're 1:16.4. We're beginning to see a few more faster lap times coming in now. Pedro on what will be his final lap, you'd expect, pushing all out. He's 6th at the moment. He's generally been involved in the higher reaches. He'll have felt like he was robbed of a win last time after being hit by Evan going into the midfield section. Geordie's done enough as well, so both Haas drivers won't be improving anymore. Only Hipari of the top 5 is out there on track at the moment, so it's a fantastic chance for Pedro to gain a couple of places. Red Bull now comes across the line, and that is what he's done so. 1:16.475, third place provisionally, but there's still a lot of drivers out on track. Jompalainen now. Those are just building up laps. He has got time for one more lap, you feel. He's 8th at the moment. Hipari's done enough as well, you'd have to say, for Powell. Can't see anyone else beating him, especially as it's only undefined now on the ultra soft tyres. So is the Toro Rosso driver just going all guns blazing here? Try and get as high up the order as possible and maybe just hope for a safety car or something. The session has finished, checkered flag is out, so it's the final laps for everyone. What can Undefined do? Has the podium in Germany given him the taste for even more success here? We reckon the soft and the mediums are going to be the better race here, but Undefined won't be caring about that at the moment. He's just trying to secure as good a place on the grid as possible. And he comes across the line and he's taken provisional pole position. Surely that will not be beaten. 1:15.3 from Undefined, a fantastic lap time. We'll head back to Jompalainen now as he comes through the final corner. He moves up to 7th as well, so he'll be fairly happy with that. It's just Pedro and Stixel now to finish their lap times. You can see Pedro there, so can't see him improving. So what can Stixel do? Expect him to move up the order as well. Sauber coming across the line, he's up to 13th. So Undefined takes pole position here for round 12 of the Apex Online Racing Hype Energy F1 2018 PlayStation 4 F4 tier. But how long can he keep those super ultra soft tyres, should I say, going? Hipari in 2nd place, makes it a 1-2 for the ultra soft for Finland as well. Geordie 3rd, Vikstad 4th. What can the two of the title contenders do from row 2? Pedro 5th, Slimbo 6th place, Jompalainen 7th, Schumacher 8th, Evan and Hasnain rounding out the top 10. And then it's Breezy, Senna, Schnitzel, Professional, Ibrahim, Randy Thompson and Kanal Yander rounding out the 17 drivers after crashing out early on, of course. So just waiting now for the race to begin. The drivers picking their strategies, making the few changes to setups that are allowed. It's only really front wing changes that are allowed after qualifying, so we'll have to see what they can all do. Comments welcome, of course. Who do you guys think will take the win here? If I was a betting man, I'd have to go for either Geordie or Vic, of course. Having the soft tyres is going to be a huge advantage. Expect them to go quite a few laps longer than the ultra softs. I expect ultra soft runners pitting around about lap 4 or 5 for their 2-stop strategy, whereas those on the softs will go at least into double figures, perhaps 12 to 15 laps if they're careful on those soft tyres in what are perfect conditions for racing in. All ahead for the formation lap now, giving them a chance to warm up their tyres. I wouldn't want to do too much tyre warming if I was Undefined and Hipari. I'd try and keep as much life in them as possible. Slimbo could be one to watch out for on the opening lap or two as well. We've seen him get some good starts earlier on this season, and he's on those softer tyres. They will give him more grip in the early stages. So a 35 lap race, of course. You must use at least two different compounds, should I say, of dry tyres if it's a dry race. If it's a wet race, all the rules go out the window, but they'll all have to pit anyway to changed to more appropriate tyres for the weather conditions. 17 runners making their way round one DRS zone. Turn 1 will definitely be the corner to watch this time out. I expect to see quite a few moves into there. Perhaps not as crazy as we saw in Germany, as we see Evan taking a line through the chicane that he won't want to do too often during the race. Can quite easily pick up some penalties, and we've seen how much they can change the order. All quite bunched up, so suggesting Undefined is taking it fairly steady on this formation lap. Slimbo going for the Kimi Raikkonen approach to tyre warming there. Leave him alone, he knows what he's doing. This should be a fascinating first couple of laps. A lot can depend on how tightly packed the field is, of course. Could change how well the ultra-soft tyre runners do. So, can either Giordi or Vikkstar take a steal in the championship on Jompalainen? Can Schumacher carry on his good form from Germany, or will we see another new race winner in this season? We will find out very shortly as we wait for the lights to come on for round 12 is go here at the Hungaroring. And it's a good start from the two front runners. Hipari's got the slightly better run and he's already ahead into turn 1 behind Pedro. Seems to have a good run around the outside of Giordi as well. Slight contact maybe between the two of them, but Pedro's hold on for third position. So it's Hipari, Undefined, Pedro and Giordi. We see yellow flags in the background as Vikkstar runs wide, and that's allowed a few cars to get past him. Evan has got through as well, and now Slimbo's all over the back of him as well. So Hipari, Undefined, Pedro, Giordi, Evan, Vic and Slimbo can hardly separate the two of them. Kano Yanda's dropped quite far back, so perhaps he was because of that yellow flag. It's not been a fantastic weekend for him so far. All pretty much line astern now through here. You can't get any overtaking done, and in the dirty air that's just going to scrub your tyres even more. But exactly the start Hipari will have wanted, to get away and try and use those tyres as much as possible. The same for Undefined. We saw Evan perhaps having a small look at Giordi there, but of course nothing coming from it. So at the end of lap 1, it's Hipari in the lead. Undefined already over second now, ahead of Pedro. Giordi in 4th. Evan, Vic, Slimbo, Jompalainen, Schnitzel and Hasnain rounding out the top 10. Vic having to go slightly defensive on Slimbo, but I didn't really feel like the move was on there, and could that compromise him into turn 2? Just being told that Frandy Thompson has front wing damage from hitting the back of Senna's car. See some very slight end plate damage there. Kano Yanda pitting as well and getting himself a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. It doesn't rain, but it pours for Kano Yanda, it seems. It's been a while since he scored points, and I can't see him doing so today. It's all fairly close, of course, apart from Yanda at the moment up front. Hipari still leading by about a second. DRS not available at the moment, but will be available on the next lap, of course. He's got about 1 second lead. Then it's Pedro and Giordi close behind, Undefined as well, and then Vic, Slimbo, Jompalainen, Schnitzel and Hasnain still. Schumacher in 11th. He's dropped a few places off the start, so he'll be hoping he can make them up. Very wild on the exit of that corner there from Hipari. You can tell how hard he is pushing just to try and use these tyres as much as possible. DRS enabled. Expect to see pit stops in the next couple of laps. Not much overtaking action happening as we expected. Evan has dropped back slightly from Giordi, should I say, and that's Slimbo getting all over the back of Vic. He feels like he's got the pace at the moment. He's being held up and needs to do something about it. He'll be using his air settings, using the fuel to try and get as much of a pace advantage as possible, and I'm sure Vic will do the same to defend. Higher up the order, Pedro getting closer now to Undefined, but as we mentioned, it's so tough to pass through this middle bit of the track. The only way you're getting past is if there is any mistake from the driver in front. A few cars running wide there in the background, they won't want to do that too often. There could be an overtake coming up here, so Pedro gets a wider line to get the best possible exit, but he's going to have to watch out from Jordi just behind as well as they come towards the end of lap 3. I thought Pedro would be attacking Undefined, but I feel he's going to have to go more defensive here from Jordi. Will Jordi go for a late lunge down the inside? No, thinks better of it. So Kanoyanda retiring, not unexpected after the disappointing start to the race there. And we see second, third and fourth line astern here, and as Pedro gone for a very optimistic move. Don't believe the two made contact, but Jordi will be just hoping this ends in tears. And Pedro's got so much more pace, but he can't use it anywhere. So he can get a much better exit there, but he was just... the hole he was aiming to aim for was filled by a Toro Rosso, so there's nothing he can do. Some more penalties popping up at the bottom of the screen there. So Hapari, Undefined, Pedro, Jordi and Evan still your top 5. Evan has slightly caught up for Jordi, but not much. Vic and Slimbo all over the back of the Renault driver as well. Pedro having to go slightly defensive there into turn 12. Wouldn't really want to do that, because that's just going to allow Undefined to pull further and further away. And there could be some action coming on here with this battle, and that one just behind as well. Jordi is all over the back, but Pedro has DRS as well, and perhaps that's just what's costing Jordi a shot at the podium at this moment in time. Vicstar having a slight look down the inside on Evan, but was too far back to give it a real go as we enter lap 5. All been fairly sensible so far, no one going for any stupid moves, as you would expect it to be, of course. Too much at stake to risk losing a front wing or gaining any penalty points. Could easily add up and lead to qualifying and race bans if you are not careful. And this battle has caught up slightly to Hipari, and that of course means Undefined is going to get DRS as well. All so close together so far, just 10 seconds separating the entire field. And if I was Slimbo, I'd definitely think about pitting soon, try and get out of this traffic, because he's going to have to get rid of his ultra soft soon before he loses too much pace. See Evan locking up in the background there, and yeah, Undefined has indeed pitted as we expected around about this point. He's the only one so far, as we see Jordi again all over the back of Pedro. The Red Bull's definitely going to have to go defensive this time out. Is that going to force Jordi to the outside? And Pedro's going to be attacking instead down the inside, and Jordi's got Hipari as well. Fantastic. Well, I wasn't expecting Pedro to have a go. Jordi's going to have to watch out for Hipari as well, but I don't think the Mercedes has got enough grip. Side by side, the two of them, and just getting through. I don't know whether there was any damage there on the Mercedes. I thought I saw something come flying up, but not sure who off. So Pedro and Jordi have broke free from Hipari, and it's Evan who'll be hoping to do so as soon as possible now in the Renault. Must be torture through these corners for Hipari. He said as a pad user he doesn't find this a fantastic track anyway. He's just got to take it so careful. And he's really suffering at the moment. He's already dropped about a second back from the lead too, as Evan runs wide, and has that given Vicstar a chance? He's round the outside into turn 13. Not really a passing place, but he's going to have a good run into the first corner, you feel. Out in front, is Jordi able to do anything about Pedro? I expected him to do it this last time, but Pedro hasn't got the Mercedes to aim at, so Pedro going defensive to the inside. Jordi with DRS round the outside. He's not able to do anything. And I think Pedro's blocked off the cutback, and Vicstar's gone past 2 cars, in fact, as we've been watching this. Vicstar's managed to get Hipari and Evan as the lead 2 still, are they side by side into there, and Pedro! I thought Pedro was in the wall there, very well held from the Spaniard in the Red Bull. You can tell he's determined to try and get his first victory. Didn't see in the background, but Vicstar shot up from 5th to 3rd, and that's the kind of driving he'll need to do as he tries to close in on this battle. Pedro cutting a curve a lot there through the chicane. He won't want to do that too often. Hipari and Evan were side by side in the background. Hipari Evan off the track, should I say. And that's allowing Slimbo to get involved in this. How this has ended in tears, I do not know. And Hipari definitely the cork in the bottle. You can see them all squabbling behind from 4th to 12th, all in one shot there. Expect something to happen any minute now. We'll have a look at Hipari pits. That'll be a relief to all them behind. Is Jordi going to have another go? He's close again. Pedro goes defensive again. Will Jordi be able to do it this time round the outside? Tried for the cutback this time. Pedro leaves him space, and that's going to give Jordi the inside line going into the next corner, and he should be able to get it done from there. Ooh, contact between the two of them, but no damage done, I believe. And that's Jordi in the lead, but still Pedro is all over the back of him. He can't try him on the outside there, surely. No, backs off. Thought that was just going to end in a collision if he tried that, and now that's allowed Vic to close up as well, and you can see how crucial it was for Vic to get past Hipari when he did. He's gained 4 seconds on the what was the Hipari train. It's now Evan at the front of that battle. Slimbo pits as well onto the medium tyres. So all the Ultrasoft runners have pitted. Undefined going for the soft, so he's definitely on a 2-stop, and I'd expect Hipari and Slimbo to be going for 2 stops as well. As we catch our breath slightly from what has happened, it's Jordi in the lead, Pedro second, Vic third, and then Evan, Jompalainen, Stixel, Hasdane, Breezy, Schumacher and Ibrahim rounding out the top 10, but there is a lot of action to go here and a lot of defending for Pedro to do. You feel, is Vic close enough to have a go into turn 1? Slight look, but never really seriously thinking about it. In the background, Jompalainen and Evan having a battle. Jompalainen has made his way through, so he is now up to 4th place. Quietly been under the radar after qualifying in 7th, but he's up to 4th, and he will now try and get onto the back of the leading 3. Stixel looks for a move on Evan as well, but I feel he's going to have to wait until another lap. So much close defending going on. Having to be careful, of course. So much skill required to not make a mistake under this sort of pressure. So it's clear track now for Jompalainen as he tries to close up to Big Pedro and Jordi. Jordi's got the clear track we all want. No one in front of him. 1.6 second gap so far, and just pulling away slightly from Pedro as Vic tries to make his way up into 2nd place. Pedro running wide over the curb there. Will that give Vic a chance? But I'd want to be behind going onto the straight. I'd want the DRS. Jordi setting the fastest lap, and Vic's already alongside Pedro. He'll get this done well before the corner with DRS. Should be a straightforward overtake. Pedro braking as late as possible to try and hold on. Not able to do anything. And Vic is up to 2nd. Will Pedro be able to have a go in turn 2? Oh, it's a very late lunge from Pedro, but he's done it cleanly. I think so. No, he's run wide again. Coming round there, and that's just cost him. I thought he'd done a fantastic move to regain 2nd place. I think he caught Vic by surprise. But Vicstar up into 2nd. Pedro now 3rd. We saw Undefined there setting the fastest lap of the race so far. So as we're on to lap 10, do you think this is now in the bag? Well, Jordi has pulled away to about 3-second lead nearly now. He's on the soft tyres, so on what we feel is the optimal strategy. And how do you think it's going to go for Undefined, Hipari and Slimbo at the back of the field? saw how pitting early favoured Vittorio Rosso. He was in second before the pit stops. He's now 7 seconds ahead of Harvey. So he's done very well out of those soft tyres, but he will definitely be stopping again. And Harvey and Slimbo could theoretically stretch it out to a one stop, but I wouldn't expect them to do so. Some battles further down the field that we're now going to look at. Senna and Hasnain for the lower reaches of the points, with Ibrahim behind. Senna, contact with Hasnain and contact with Ibrahim as well. That's going to allow Professional to have a go on the Force India. All these fighting for 9th place, of course, with Schumacher just ahead in 8th. That's Randy Thompson getting onto the back of this as well. Probably going to have to wait until later on in the lap. Schnitzel, we saw him all over the back of Evan earlier on. He's still in that same place, but he's not able to make his way further up. I thought he may have got it done by now. Most of the drivers on the soft tyres, he definitely seems to be faster through this section. He's all over the back of Evan. Have the tyres began to cry enough for the Renault driver as Joe Breezy retires from the session? We'll see Ibrahim running very wide in the background. That doesn't allow Professional to get alongside, so Joe Breezy retiring from this session. That will be a disappointment for him. Strixel getting very well acquainted with Evan, who pits, so the Renault driver pits. Perhaps, as we mentioned earlier on, using the pad, causing more tyre wear. So Evan and Senna as well, the first of the soft tyre runners as well, promoting Strixel up to 5th position. But out in front, it's still Jordi, followed by Vic and Pedro, with Jon Palainen trying to catch up to the podium places now in 4th. Senna and Evan, as expected, both going onto those medium tyres. They will be on those until the end now, barring any accidents or sudden rain showers. Take a look at the Hasnain and Ibrahim battle again, which was involved Senna, of course, for 10th place, but with pit stops it's now 7th and 8th as Ibrahim gets a penalty. Multiple warnings, perhaps taking a bit too much curve through the chicane, very easily done as you wear the tyres out and try and straight line the corners to keep your momentum up as much as possible. Hasnain closing up to last week's winner. First time that Hasnain hasn't got any points in this championship was in Germany. He did only join at a later stage, of course, but he was still enough to help Williams maintain the constructors' lead. See Schumacher taking a wider line to perhaps get a better run. Jon Palainen pits. So Jon Palainen pitting, the first of the front-running soft tyre runners to come into the pit lane. He's usually very good on his tyres, but perhaps pushing through the field means he's worn them out a bit more. Or does he feel he'll be able to do more on the mediums? So it'll be interesting to see where he comes out in the Williams. It's behind Hipari at the moment, but ahead of Slimbo, so not really gained too much there. The Williams, he'll be hoping to get past the Mercedes as quickly as possible, does not want to lose any time. Hasnain still all over the back of Schumacher. Is he able to do anything? You'd expect Ibrahim and Professional behind to stop out longer on their mediums. Jordi keeping the gap at about 3 seconds to Vic, who is pulling away from Pedro. 3.5 seconds now, the gap back to the Spaniard in 3rd position. Then Schnitzel, Schumacher, Hasnain, Ibrahim, Professional, Randy Thompson, and undefined, the leader of those who have pitted. The view back from Hasnain, DRS wide open, but not close enough to do anything as Pedro pits. So Pedro's had it off and the Red Bull. He pits as well. Expect to see more of the soft tyre runners coming in very shortly. Hasnain, I thought, was going to perhaps give it a go there on Schumacher, but decided it's not the best thing. And you can see how the mediums have got the pace at the moment. Evan setting the fastest lap 119.7. Senna also in the 119s, showing how much more pace they've got on those medium tyres. I feel like it's the time for the front guys to pit. Maybe Pedro has called it right by doing that. He's come out ahead of Hibari, but he's involved towards the back of this battle now with Randy Thompson and Undefined. So the pit stops worked out pretty well for the Red Bull driver. Just behind the battle that was on screen, we've got this one for 6th place at the moment. You can see Undefined closing up to the back of it as well. Professional doing a good job in the 7th place at the moment in this race. 9th in the championship. He'll be hoping for a good performance to boost for all his constructors' chances. They're 30 points behind at the moment. So Geordie's pitted, Vic has pitted, and Schumacher pits as well. Randy Thompson coming in as well. So where will the Haas driver come out? That's the important question. Still behind Undefined. You can see what pitting early has done. What Undefined is going to have to stop again. Vicstar coming out about the same distance behind as well, but still ahead of Pedro as you'd expect. So Geordie out in 6th place. That will be the net race lead, of course, after Undefined makes his 2nd stop. Out in front then, it is Schnitzel. Taking it nice and steady in the Sauber. He's managed, this is his 15th lap on those soft tyres, but they're beginning to look past their best. You see him struggling for grip through these corners. Hear them sliding slightly, so he'll be coming in shortly. Can't seem gaining much from sticking out on these tyres for too long now. Yep, Schnitzel coming in. I wouldn't be surprised to see Hasnain follow behind as well. Yep, so that's all the soft runners in at the moment, and giving Ibrahim, Somalian, a nice chance to lead in what is only his 2nd Apex Online Racing event of this season. Undefined looking very close to Professional as well now. He wants to make the most of those soft tyres to give himself any hope at all at salvaging a podium or perhaps even a win out of this race. Because while he's getting held up, that's just going to allow Geordie, Vic and Pedro to catch up. Vic did gain slightly on Geordie in the pit stops, but only by about half a second. Schnitzel coming out around about 10th place after his pit stop. Hasnain coming out in 12th, so that could be interesting for the lower points finishers as we get towards the end of this race. So with the majority of the drivers, apart from your front two, having pitted, it's Ibrahim and Professional leading. Undefined in 3rd place, Geordie, Vic 4th and 5th, and then Pedro, Hipari, Jompalainen and Slimbo. Professional ran wide slightly. Is that going to give Undefined a chance into turn 12? Not enough of a braking zone, I feel, there in these modern F1 cars to be able to do anything. You can see how Geordie is catching up. Undefined taking some very interesting lines as he tries to get the best possible exit. He will have DRS going into this next corner, and that should give him a chance to get alongside, if not past. Professional goes defensive, and Undefined runs wide, and is that going to give Geordie a chance to get his nose ahead of the Toro Rosso? They're side by side going into turn 2, and Geordie's done it, but he's run very wide as well. And Undefined will take the favour back. Geordie's just hung on though, so Geordie up to 3rd place. Toro Rosso driver Undefined was slightly annoyed there. Bit too optimistic on the brakes into turn 1, and that allowed Geordie up to 3rd. But Ibrahim and Professional just staying calm. They've got to make these mediums last for at least another 5 laps, you'd have to say. But Geordie will want to get past as soon as possible, and you can see why Vic has closed right up now to this. Professional doing his Indian teammate one hell of a favour at the moment, but it's when, not if, you feel, before he manages to get past. You can see how much more grip Geordie's got, even having a go there. But Professional defending hard. He's allowed to. This is for position, of course. You can't just expect him to jump out of the way, but there's not going to be much he'll be able to do now. Good straight line speed, and Vicstar in the background as well, going for Undefined. Geordie gets the job done for second position. Can't see Professional being able to fight back. It's Undefined and Vic we're watching at the moment, and Undefined just holding on as well, so he stays in fourth. Vic's going to have to spend another lap behind Professional and Undefined, and around this twisty bit, expect gap to grow significantly between these two title rivals. Pedro 6th, Barbie 7th, John Palainen 8th, Slimbo, Strixel Line, Senna 10th, Slimbo 11th, Schumacher 12th, and Hasnain 13th at the moment. We're seeing positions changing all the time between them, but we're going to keep our eye on this battle for now. Ibrahim doing well at the moment, keeping calm. He could be in chat, he could be good at the end of the race with the softer tyres as the others begin to wear. I expect Professional to just be a sitting duck here for Undefined, and then he'll let Vic by soon after, you'd have to imagine. The Professional has pitted, in fact, so Professional crying enough after only 17 laps on those mediums. He's going to have to go to the softs. I think he's going to find it hard to get to the end as Vic going for the outside on Undefined into turn 1. Both drivers had DRS there, and that perhaps just stopped Vic getting the move done into turn 1, but he's going to have another chance into turn 2. He's on the inside. Undefined running wide, and that's Vic start through into third place. So it's very close actually for the battle for the final point now between Senna, Slimbo, Senna, Schumacher, Hasnain and Evan, all battling for 9th place. We're looking at Schumacher in 11th at the moment. Can't get a cigarette paper between himself and Senna, but the Red Bull driver hanging on to that 10th place at the moment. Evan earning himself a penalty at the moment. Will Hasnain be able to get himself involved in this action? Hasnain and Evan side by side through the chicane. That's not something you see often. Still side by side, and Evan just gets ahead, but it's battle ebbing and flowing all the time as Ibrahim now pits. So these mediums aren't lasting as long from the start of the race as we expected. I thought they'd be able to do at least 20-21 laps. Ibrahim's managed 19. He's going to have to do 16 on the softs. Could get very interesting. See up ahead, Schumacher alongside Senna coming onto the straight. They're both going to get DRS, of course, because of Slimbo. Will Schumacher be able to do anything? There's Ibrahim coming out of the pit lane at the worst possible time perhaps for these. Getting in the way slightly, but there's nothing he could have done really, and he's now involved in this battle, and it's worked out bad for Schumacher. He's got passed by Evan as well. So it's all kicking off here. You can't take your eyes off this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars separated by about a second at the moment. Fantastic racing. And that's Schumacher down to 12th. Ibrahim came out after it's all settled down in 11th. Evan up to 10th. And Senna 9th. So everyone has now made at least one pit stop as we see a car going across the chicane there. Senna and Evan battling as well. Evan once again involved in all the action. The Red Bull trying everything he can to get past the Renault driver. Undefined pits from third. As Vicstar set for past his lap, so Undefined pits. He'll be going back onto the softs until the end of the race, and he could come out just at the back of all this pack. He won't get me out stuck behind them though, as they're going to be holding each other up. And Senna pits as well. I don't know if he wanted to, or he was just shoved into the pit lane too late there. Or does he feel he can go faster away from these and get out on the softer tyres? So Undefined coming out of the pit lane. Just behind Evan and Ibrahim, so that is 10th place at the moment. But Vicstar setting the fastest laps. 1.5 seconds behind the leader now. As Charlie mentioned, fantastic racing, 4 wide through turn 1, and I don't know how they do it at times without getting involved in contact. It takes a lot of skill and awareness from these drivers, using all the tools in game, of course, the mirrors and the proximity arrows to try and make sure they're as clean as possible. You expect a bit of rubbing, you know, it's part and parcel of most motor racing, but you can't do too much. You don't want to damage yourself or your opponent's chances in the races. So you can see Jordi and Vic coming through now. That's Pedro just in the background. The gap at about 1.8 seconds at the moment. And with Jon Palainen in fourth, that would still be enough for the Williams driver to have the lead of the championship going into round 12 next time out. Round 13, should I say, next time out, around Spa-Francorchamps. Possibly the most opposite to this track, you can feel. Very long track, famous through the Ardennes forest, and we hopefully will see you again there. Jordi getting very sideways, drifting the Haas. Yes, jockeying Jordi, more Ken Block through there. Doesn't want to do that too much. We mentioned the tyres overheating, but fantastic car control exhibited there by the American. So we mentioned Jon Palainen 4th, Hipari 5th, Schnitzel 6th, and then Evans, Limbo, Ibrahim undefined. That battle for the final few points now. Schumacher found himself dropping off that slightly, and Hasnain a bit unlucky with where cars have come out in the pits. I'm interested to see how Senna does on those fresh soft tyres. He will be on them till the end now, so expect a charge. Perhaps a bit too much of a charge there into the chicane. Expect him to charge his way up. How far up the order can he get? I think he's going to have to rely on pit stops from the others. The Schumacher pits as well. Perhaps he thinking the same, or are they getting slight damage? Can't see, of course, from there. It is damage for Schumacher, so a new front wing for the Lebanese driver. That's going to cost him, but he'll be charging to the end to try and move his way up. As you see Vic Star still in second, trying to keep Jordi in his sights. If he gets it down to a second, of course, he will get DRS, and that will be a massive advantage down that main straight. Slimbo and Undefined now battling as well for 9th and 10th place, with Ibrahim just ahead. He's having a better race with Somalian this time round, and Slimbo, he'll be hoping to get some more points. Was there contact there between Undefined and Slimbo? Don't think so, but Slimbo's running wide. His tyres a lot older. He's also going to have to do 2 stops. I wouldn't be surprised to see him come in any moment now. In fact, I can't see him holding off the Toro Rosso much longer. Undefined has DRS, Professional has it as well, but I feel like he's too far back to get involved in this battle. Slimbo doesn't really make a massive defence of it, and that's for Toro Rosso back into the points. Can't see the Force India being able to fight back. He will be on the outside, and he's given it his best, but he's just not able to do that. So Undefined definitely up to 9th place now. Slimbo drops down to 10th position. Probably the closest battle near the front of the field is the one on screen at the moment. Hipari, another one of the 2 stop runners, he will have to pit through. And Schnitzel for 5th place at the moment. 3rd retirement of the race, Bradley Thompson. He had pitted twice, he was near the back, so shouldn't have too much of an effect, but Bradley Thompson is out. What can Schnitzel do in the Sauber? See how hard he's pushing there, locking up into the penultimate corner. I want as good a run as possible coming onto the straight. It's just 11 laps to go, and virtual safety car has been deployed. That can only be for Bradley Thompson's car, I believe. I think we just saw it there at the end of the pit lane. So virtual safety car deployed. If I was Hipari, I could have done with that about 10 seconds earlier. And Hasnain pits in the Williams. Will we see any others dive into the pit lane? Don't generally last too long. So Will anyone else give it a go and get onto new tyres? Hipari braking as hard as possible there, nearly contact. Try and keep underneath. We'll keep above the delta time. I should say, go faster, you will get a penalty. That's what all this hard braking's about. So Hasdane coming out on the ultra softs. 11 laps on them is going to be a interesting task. Now, the whole point of the virtual safety car is it's meant to keep the gaps constant. Vic is definitely trying to close up to Geordie, but I think that ended at just the right time for Geordie. He's managed to keep it at about 1.5 seconds with 10 laps to go and all still to play for. It's Geordie and Vic with 1.5 seconds separated for two. Pedro's in third, Jon Palainen fourth, and then Hipari, Stixel, Aaron, Ibrahim, Undefined and Slimbo rounding out the points. We've had 3 retirements so far of Randy Thompson, Joe Breezy and Kano Yanda. Will Stixel be able to have a go on Hipari? Not going for it this time around, but again he is on fresher rubber, so with Hipari pitting soon you'd imagine it should be straightforward for Stixel to secure a 5th place, which would be one of his best results of the season. Managed a podium, as I mentioned, in Monaco and 4th in Azerbaijan and Austria, but would do Stixel well in what is a very tight midfield battle in the championship. Further back, Professional has managed to make his way past Salembo for 10th place to Force India Tyres. Perhaps had enough now. Senna and Schumacher, you imagine, must be regretting their decision to pit when they did. Of course, how are they to know a virtual safety car would be deployed, but there would have been a perfect opportunity to get some fresher rubber on and would not cost as much time, probably only about 10 seconds instead of the usual 20 plus. I thought it'd be Hipari would look more out of control in that battle, but Stixel came very close to losing the car there. And that's cost him. He's not able to get close enough to do anything about it. So Hipari, he's holding on as long as possible. Mainly because if he pits now, it would put him down to about down to where Hasdane is pretty much. So needs to, and Hasdane's going to close up as well. So it's be 12th place after Hipari pits, which I imagine he's almost certain to. He's managed 19 laps on those mediums. It's the same as what Slimbo's on. It's what Ibrahim managed earlier when there was, of course, heavy fuel load. So it will be easier to go longer now, but I imagine he'll be coming in any moment now. Perhaps holding off so he can go onto the ultra softs at the end for the glory of the fastest lap. Talking of Ibrahim, he's 8th at the moment, all over the back of the Renault of Evan, who's in 7th. It would be one of Evan's best results of the season. It would give the first time any driver, apart from Slimbo, has scored points for Force India. It's the second teammate Slimbo has had at the moment. And Undefined catching up as well. On to lap 28 now. These are the main battles in the field between Hipari and Stixel for 5th, and Aaron Ibrahim and Undefined for 7th, 8th and 9th. Geordie still keeping the gap at about 1.5 to 2 seconds. Pedro dropping back now in 3rd, but he looks pretty secure in there. He's 5 seconds ahead of Jon Palainen. Then, as we mentioned, it's Hipari and Stixel, Aaron Ibrahim, Undefined and Professional at the moment, holding on to the last point place. We'll change back to the Stixel Hipari battle. Still not able to do anything. Hipari being very careful on his tyres. He made a 2-stop work last time to get 4th place. As I've mentioned many times, I feel like 1 stop's just not going to be possible. Schnitzel locking up slightly. Apart getting slightly wide. Ibrahim has been passed by Undefined further back, so perhaps Toro Rosso will now be able to have a go at Evan. And Hapavi, even though his tyres are worn out, is doing very well on the exit of that final corner, though he went slightly defensive on the straight there, didn't really see the need for that. He had a big enough gap, and that has just allowed Schnitzel to get closer, not enough to have a lunge into turn 2. I mentioned there's only one DRS zone. There is of course that short bit between turns 1 and 2, but it is the same detection point as the first one. Schnitzel all over the back of Hapavi, but you're not going to be able to do it through there unless the driver in front is either A, very kind, or B, off the track. Geordie is extending his gap slightly in the Haas. It's up to about 2 seconds now ahead of Vic, and this would be, and if he can hang on, one of these two is going to be the first driver to win 4 races so far this season, and that will be a massive help in their championship battle. Just 2 points separate the drivers at the moment. They're in 2nd and 3rd in the championship, and this will allow both of them to close up to Jon Palainen, who's staying about 5 seconds behind Pedro, not really able to get any closer, so perhaps the Williams man has settled for 4th at the moment. See Undefined, can he do anything at the moment? The pole sitter, 8th place at the moment. We knew he wasn't on the optimal strategy, going for those ultra softs on the first few laps, but he's doing enough at the moment to get a few points for himself to build on the result last time out. It would be, I believe, the first time, did get consecutive points finishes in Spain and Monaco in what were his 2nd and 3rd races, but this will build on the good result in Hungary and should move him up slightly in the championship ahead of Randy Thompson. We see Aaron getting very wide there. Cars using the curbs as much as possible. Schnitzel has earned himself a penalty, but he has managed now, in fact, to get past Hapavi, so he'll be trying to build that gap. He's in 5th at the moment, trying to ensure he stays there. The later Hapavi and Slimbo leave this, the more I think they're going to stay out on track. I mean, Slimbo's not really got anything to gain no matter what he does. He's not going to be able to catch up to Professional, and the pit stop will just put him down in last place at the moment. And Hapavi, he's in a similar position. A pit stop would drop him out of the points, and it's too late for him to be able to do anything to catch up. So perhaps they've managed to make these ultra softs last a bit longer at the start. Was the way to go if you started on them. I mean, Undefined is in 8th. He's done well to get himself there on the 2-stop strategy. We'll see if any of the other drivers have gone for 2 stops. Hasdane and Senna did as well early on, and we saw Schumacher pitting for damage. So Undefined's the only driver who's made a 2-stop work on a conventional 2-stop. Of course, we expected him to do so. So perhaps the 1-stop definitely the way forward, even if you started on those ultra soft tyres. It's been a great race from Schnitzel, qualified in 13th, and he's managed to get his way up to 5th at the moment. Also a lot of moves up the grid for Ibrahim. Undefined dropping back as we expected. The same with Slembo and Hapavi. Schumacher's damage has probably cost him a good chance of some good points. We said he's been in the points every race so far. The commentator's curse strikes again. It's going to take an absolute miracle from here, you'd imagine, to keep that run up. With 4 laps to go, it's Geordie and Vic out in front, the gap staying fairly constant, and then Pedro, Jon Palainen and Schnitzel rounding out for top 5. Undefined having a go at Evan into turn 1. He's done it, and he will have DRS to solidify that position change. See Professional and Ibrahim in the background. Evan very late on the brakes there. Goodness me, I thought we were going to see another crash there. So Evan desperate to hold on, but not able to do so. He's down to 8, and Professional has got past Ibrahim in the background for 9th place as well. So this is the main battle now for 8th, 9th, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th. Evan, even though he's on the older tyres, does seem to have a lot of pace through this fast twisty bit of the track as he tries to hang on. He's expected to be slower from as the dirty air takes effect, of course, and the age of the tyres. He's desperate to try and get the 7th place, which would be his best result since the Spanish Grand Prix, where he started on pole, of course. So they come on to lap 33 now, undefined Evan, Professional and Ibrahim. We saw Evan go for a late lunge last time around. He's locked up this time. Gets a penalty for warning. Slight contact between the two of them. Evan will have DRS going around the outside into turn 2. Will Undefined be able to hold on? That gives Evan the inside into turn 3, and he's got himself back up to 7th, or has he? The side by side still going up the hill, and I think Evan's finally going to have to yield. Runs wide, and he's managed to make his way through, and is Professional going to try and follow through? No. Didn't quite see if all 4 wheels went off track there from Evan, but if not, that would have been a fantastic manoeuvre. So Undefined has repassed, in fact. Constant move change. Who said you couldn't overtake around here? If you're brave enough, you can overtake anywhere, of course. As Schumacher retires from the session, we saw some yellow flags appear, so I wondered if that was him. So Schumacher is out of the race, and that will end a point scoring run. So disappointing after what happened last time out in Germany. It's not to be this time for the Lebanese driver. So Evan has DRS, Professional will also have it. Will it be another late lunge from the Renault driver? No, even he thinks that's a bit too optimistic this time around. But out in front all of a sudden, Big Star high, so very slightly there, he got it down to within a second, so he's putting everything at it. Although you'd imagine without a mistake, it's definitely Geordie's. Just one lap to go at the end of this one. I think around the final few corners, Big Star locking up, pushing as hard as he dares, throwing everything at this. He wants to get that 4th win of the season and move himself up into 2nd in the championship. Final lap of the race. I feel like the lead battle is settled, and that for 5th and 6th between Hapari and Stixel, but Evan and Professional and Undefined all nose to tail as they enter the final lap. Ibrahim just behind as well. We have to see what they can do. This is a final overtaking opportunity, you'd feel, for a normal person. We've already seen Evan and Undefined have a fantastic battle for the first sector of the lap. Evan trying for the cutback, perhaps not able to do so. Will he be able to do anything into turn 2? I don't feel like he can fully commit with Professional and Ibrahim so close behind, so that may be that for this battle. Further out in front, Geordie's coming through the second to last corner. Managed to get the lead early on and has done nothing wrong since then. It's a win for Geordie at round 12 here in Hungary. Vixar closed up to 2nd place. He will be very happy with that. I feel the Ferrari driver will go back to this crazy battle for 7th, 8th and 9th. All of them running wide on the final few corners. As Pedro crosses the line in 3rd position with Jon Palainen 4th. We'll see who's going to finish here. The contact between Professional and Evan, and that's going to allow Ibrahim to have a chance. I've got no idea who's going to do this. I don't feel like the German's going to be too happy with that. But Evan holds on to 8th. Oh, sorry, penalties, of course, putting Evan down to 10th. So Professional going for 8th place in the end. Ibrahim 9th, but I doubt Professional knew that when he went for the move. Otherwise, of course, why would he have bothered? So that's the points places all sorted. quick mention for Pedro. Bit of a quiet race in the end from him after his early antics in the lead, but he managed to get a podium. But it is all about Geordie, who wins round 12 of the PS4 Formula 4 tier. He will be delighted with his performance today, the American. Vic got close at the end, but I think just ran out of laps to get second. Pedro, another podium for the Red Bull driver. Been one of the most consistent. It's 3 in the last 4 races for the Spaniard, and that will be enough, I believe, to move him up to 4th in the championship. We'll have a quick run through the order when it comes up on the screen. So Geordie winning, Vic second, Pedro third, Jompalainen fourth, top 4 all clean, a good job by them. Stixel hanging on to 5th, Undefined managing to get 6th from Hibari after penalties taken into account. Professional 8th, Ibrahim 9th and Evan 10th. Hasdane and Slimbo, the last of the 2 finishers, with Senna, Schumacher, Randy Thompson, Breezy, Kano Yanda failing to finish the race. So what that means for the championship going into the next round, these results are all provisional, of course. Do still have a stewards inquiry ongoing from the German Grand Prix, which could move Vicstar up a place in that race. So Jompalainen still has a slim lead in the championship now of a point over Geordie. Vic 9 points behind, so the top 3 still very close together. And I said before the race, Schumacher might have a slight championship chance, and I can only apologise for him. I feel like I put the jinx on the Lebanese driver, so he will drop down to 5th behind Pedro, who's done a very good job, I feel, in the last few races. He would have gone on the podium in France, of course, without a large number of penalties that he accrued. And he's slowly building himself up the ranks, perhaps looking to win the best of the rest this time around. Some other honourable mentions there for some of the drivers. Undefined doing well on that 2-stop strategy. Hipari may have beat him on track, but penalties cost the Finn in the end. And Stixel, a bit of an anonymous early stages from Stixel, but built his way up the field from 13th to 5th. The Sauber driver will definitely be happy with that. Next time out will be Belgium, as I mentioned, for the race around Spa. Should be a fascinating time this time around. And who will win? Will Geordie be able to continue his fine form to take a win this time out? Will Vic be able to avenge his defeat? Can Jompalainen extend his lead of a championship? Or will we see one of the midfield runners again move their way up? I hope you've all enjoyed watching what was a fascinating race. Battles throughout the field. That's what we've come to expect from this season. Thank you and goodbye.